Phil Spencer be shook. He be in his bed worried at night, in the morning. First thing he thinks about, Helldivers 2. Why didn't I get that as a Microsoft exclusive? It is blowing up. It's official. We don't always get a pleasant story like this. I am Couch Coop and we're going to celebrate the phenomenal in places launch of Helldivers 2 on Steam and PlayStation 5. And we just had patch 1.09. The game is basically working on console now. I've had no problems over the last 2 days. I want to hear from you guys how it is over on the PC. I don't think it was a huge squeaky wheel on the server front. I think it was just the console side that got the bad deal. Also, it's very difficult to go on social media. I know my algorithm probably points a lot of the content towards me, but it's just praise everywhere. Even people who run channels that don't normally revolve around this sort of content have just leapt on it. Helldivers X, Y, and Z videos popping up left, right, and center. It's great fun for someone like me who had their eyes on this game up to 18 months before launch. It's still really good to see brilliant feedback from a game that totally deserves it. I obviously look at a lot of content about the game and I've noticed a lot of YouTubers, bigger ones especially, who traditionally would go through, COD or FIFA, now starting to put out Helldivers content. I got very lucky and put out a PlayStation 5 video like 3.5 days after its launch, and it mustered the most views in a single day my channel has ever had. Anyone that subscribed from that video, it was a fluke. I had it once before with Dragon's Dogma in November. Do not expect numbers like that on my content going forwards. This guy is awesome, managed to die on the tutorial. I think I might have to steal that laugh.
I think you're ready for our holiday.
It does say danger. Dive here.
Awaiting the imaginative and amazing GamerX thumbnails with the photoshopped protagonist, on the front before you buy with the hands up. If I never see that thumbnail ever again for the rest of my life, it will be too soon. If I ever walk away from this platform not seeing the before you buy thumbnail and Amazcold's face, I will not miss that. Jack Frags also never got the memo, had to get the game out at last minute, probably didn't get a check or early access. Really funny stuff seeing him pump out 3 almost back-to-back Helldivers 2 videos. This has got to the mainstream when our friend Jack Frags starts blabbing on about it. What about the intellectual mammoth that is SkillUp? What's his opinion on this? Because it's kind of right down his street. Co-op and third person, almost an action ARPG, nothing. Very strange. Either he's planning a really big feature piece on it or he's just not bothering. Maybe there wasn't enough sort of promo going towards his direction for him to grab hold of it. Very surprised at that. Maybe we'll see something soon. He's managed Skull and Bones though. It's weird that, isn't it? Sort of Ubisoft, maybe an arrangement. YI Man worth a buy put a very interesting review out. You might be aware of his work. He's a fellow Brit and he talks about a potential pay-to-win setup with the special edition version of the game coming with some slightly better bedrock weapons on the starter front, which is blatantly true, and if you pay that money you do get a slightly better deal. But this is a co-op game, and so that PvP pay-to-win expression for me doesn't fit too well. I understand that having the edge in a co-op game is something that would miff anyone who wasn't up for spending that money, but that's just not a new thing, and games have been doing that for about 5 years plus.
It's third person, which changes pretty much everything.
If you've been with me a while, you know how staunchly anti-micro I am, and Helldivers is surprisingly subtle with its store and not pushing it in front of you and not giving, everything else the massive arrow to you need to buy X, Y, and Z after a mission. It's kind of just tokens, and if you want to push that cosmetic look, you can. And as far as those starter weapons go, they are out of fashion within the opening couple of hours of the game.
Yup, that works too, creating an electrical trap that will move around with the tank and vaporize anything that gets too close.
Any decent creators out there that I would recommend, Boomstick's got an excellent tutorial on putting the Tesla cannon on top of the automaton tank and it just walking around and causing all manner of panic for you. What a brilliant idea. Why is Helldivers both phenomenal and a phenomenon? There's 2 interesting things going on here. First of all, this is a sequel out and out, and it's a jumped up version of its original format. What I mean is everything has just been rearranged. It is now existing as a third person shooter, and as mentioned in my original content before the game came out, this is a very prickly market, extremely populated with other games that are strong and experienced and, maybe on their 4th, 5th installment. Helldivers 2 completely met them at eye level, and its granular third-person gameplay and shooting mechanics, dissipation, weapon ballistics, open world system, and their optional questing, sub-quest setup is just so enjoyable. It even feels refreshing. Technically, this doesn't step out of any major blueprint for a game of this type, but there's just something in here, and I think you'll all agree with that. It's been a while since I've felt this addicted and excited for an online service game. I think maybe like Destiny 1 way back when they started releasing some of that cool DLC. Back to that first point, to honour the original audience with subject matter that directly aligns with the pillars that made that Helldivers 1 so incredible. It was the stuff you were fighting, it was the friendly fire, and it was also the stratagem system being dangerous and causing panic when you need to call something in. It is all impeccably kept in. Even the muscle memory on the directional buttons is still being used by my brain when I pull up the stratagem list from the original game.
Requesting sentry.
The supply drop commands and even some of the precision strikes are identical to that original game, along with some of the sound samples and even the grenade arcs. So that is a feat in itself, but to come out with a different format that competes with one of the most competitive markets in gaming, i.e. that third person bug shooter section, is really a thing. And to have it all happen in the first week just about work. That is the only issue, is I don't think they anticipated 200,000 Steam users within the first week. In the original video review on the PlayStation 5, I used the analogy of Monster Hunter World coming out as like a brand new thing to follow up from Monster Hunter Generations. And I think that that is not the best of similarities, because that format, the Monster Hunter system, is still used in those games. Arrowhead didn't have that sort of previous system to fall back on. It was only really the stratagems and the sort of concept of the game that they worked with. So even more of a chasmous jump, and does make me respect how well this game has actually managed this last week and a bit.
Throwing supply beacon!
And talking of Monster Hunter, Rise was previously my go-to online 4-player sort of PlayStation 5 game, but this is now starting to rival it both on playtime and how much I'm willing to invest, because that roadmap is very detailed. The tanks have just turned up on the enemy side, and of course the Bile Titans and some of that extra subspecies I haven't seen yet is going to keep me glued to logging into this game. I also want to hear if you're a PlayStation 4 owner. Is this a big sort of thorn in your side, having this been an exclusive and so popular? And if you only have an Xbox machine, are you looking over the fence? Is this something you want to be put onto your systems? It won't ever be. You can just give us Hi-Fi Rush and jog on. I was, of course, Couch Coupon. Will I be getting 15,000 views on this video? I very much doubt it. I will, of course, see you down there, and I hope you all enjoy Helldivers 2.